welcome to the Crafty Mini. Today we're going to make a shoggoth, crazy creature from H.P. Lovecraft stories, cosmic horror at its weirdest. Right, so we're going to make the skeleton for the clay to actually sit on, so I don't use as much clay, and also just get rid of all these offcuts of bits of foam and things I've got. The wooden egg, I've actually no idea where that's from, but it had a good weight, so I thought, right, that'll go in the centre of the piece to give it some weight so it'll stay upright. So at this point I've got a rough idea of what I want it to look like, so I'll get the hot glue gun out and start sticking bits together. Just mashing things now, because I mean a shoggoth it's a protoplasmic weird creature. It has no defined shape, so just chuck stuff together, create something interesting. And now we're just adding some extra sort of pieces of foam and things I've got on. I've even hot glued some of the dice on there just to give it extra shapes and definition, so when the clay sits on it's going to have a really interesting silhouette. I'm just adding the last few bits now, and we'll see when the clay starts to go on, you'll see the shape that it'll form. Right, so I've got some air dry clay. I think this was from Hobbycraft. So I'll just start literally ripping off chunks now. You see me spreading it out into I think it's about 2-3mm thick, and then just start chucking it on. This creature's supposed to be like a protoplasmic, antimorphous, and it's just undulating. It's full of bumps and twists, and it's really gory. So just chuck this stuff on. There is no rhyme or reason, there's no planning to this. Make it look as grotesque and as alien and as weird as possible. And you'll see things like the dice and the little bumps on the foam are going to start taking shape now. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's surprisingly therapeutic doing this. Well, just while we're finishing the back of this now, some of you might be thinking, CraftyMini, you deranged creator. Why? What is this? What's the point of this? Well, Mountains of Madness, one of my favourite books. H.P. Lovecraft, one of my favourite authors. And this monster appears prominently in the story. It's a weird... It originally created as like a slave-like race by these other creatures called Elder Things, and the Shoggoths rebel and eventually attack their masters. And one of the survivors in the actual story sees one of these things and goes mad. Really good book and definitely worth a read. Let's get this finished. Let's make sure. It needs to be complete. I need to complete this. And as we're just coming up to the back of the project now, you can see all the different shapes and how they're affecting the actual sculpting of the clay and the silhouette of this creature. Don't be afraid if you need to rip things out and put things back in, do so. If it gives yourself a better looking sculpture. And here we go now, we're going up to the last part and just add in the last few bits of clay. And then we'll go through and start smoothing it all down. Did you hear that? Does that sound like something? Oh, I'm going mad. I'm going to get back to editing. Yeah, it's absolutely great working with clay. It's almost as if it comes to life as you're working with it. And this is the messy part, but good fun. So basically just getting some water on my fingers, rubbing it around and just smoothing out all the creases and getting things to sort of join back together, any of the seams on the clay. Now because it's air dry clay, it may dry and there may have cracks form, that can happen, but with the sculpture like this it's okay, it's all part of the sort of the charm and all the details that are going to be on it. But as you can see, I'm just going around now. The odd gap will show, and I'll just add a chunk of clay, use a wet finger, and just start smooshing it around. And it starts to look more sort of organic, is the best word to describe it. And yeah, just have fun with this. If there's things like, you'll see a moment on one of the skirts on the side, I decided to change it and tuck it in. Anything like that, just change it as you go. And now just going around neatening all the edges, pushing in the last few bits, filling any little gaps that might have appeared, and just smoothing everything out, making sure it's all ready for the next step. Right, so now I've got some little agitators that I use in my paint pots. They're basically stainless steel ball bearings. Get various sizes, but I'm using them. I'm basically pushing them into the clay now. And these are going to be the eyeballs of the shoggoth. And yeah, just pushing them in, and you can pinch around them as well. So give the impression of like eyelids. Or maybe different expressions for each eye, and just randomize this, pop them all over, facing in all directions. Again, just make it as disturbing and as crazy as possible. This is the whole reason why I've chose this as my first project for the channel. It was just something was calling to me. Can't really explain it, and it was fun from start to finish. And yeah, and don't forget the sides and the back. Make this, so it's got a 360 vision. Because when you finally finished and painted this thing, and you pick it up and you turn it around, you realise it's always watching. And when we come to like painting the eyes later on, you'll see we can actually, with the pupil and the iris, have it so the eyes are looking in different directions, as if it's all seeing, and it'll never miss anything. Again, it's just that creepy factor, that cosmic horror. Right, so now we're going to make some tentacles for it. This is just, I think it's armature or florist wire, I think. It's pretty cheap. And I basically just cut off some random lengths, bend them into shape, see where I'm going to put them, and then start wrapping them in clay. You'll see actually in the video that I do make a mistake early on, and so when I come to the, I think it's the second or third tentacle, I actually fold over the wire and twist it just so there's a bit more support, because I found that some of the tentacles, once they were stuck in, they just collapsed upon themselves on the weight. But yeah, again, just have fun with this. It's messy, it's grotesque. You'll see me using the water just to smooth the tentacles out. They don't have to be perfectly sort of shaped, like if you imagine like an octopus tentacle. They can be bulbous and bumpy. Anything just gives a bit of texture and a bit more. Oh, what's that? Hearing something. Process is the exact same with all the other tentacles. Just covering the wires and then popping them in all over the actual body of the shoggoth. And this is the final product. The texture's really good. I don't remember doing that. I must use clay shaper. Anyway, yeah. Next video, that'll be it. We're gonna get some paint on and hopefully bring this thing to life.